In 2001, we founded the patient organization called Parent Project. In 2013, we founded our current patient organization called Dюшенна, which main focus is providing support for adults with DMD. Our patient organization, Dюшенna, in cooperation with Rehabilitation Clinic in Kendal in Belgium, was able to improve the ventilation care, which led to increased lifespan not only of Duchenne patients, but also of patients with other neuromuscular diseases as well. The House of Commons in the Czech Republic will be making decision in 2021 whether or not non-invasive ventilation support will be covered by the health insurance. This legislation act is demanding that patients with neuromuscular disorders will get 2 ventilation devices capable of multiple modes of operation, which will be equipped with a backup source, and all this will be fully covered from the health insurance. We were able to persuade medical doctors in the Czech Republic that non-invasive ventilation support is totally safe for DMD patients, even when used continuously every day. We thank to Dr. Michel Toussaint from Belgium and to Dr. David Kemling from Clinic of Neurology of the first medical faculty of Charles University and General Teaching Hospital in Prague for their professional involvement in the project. A Breathe in the New Life, which we have been working on since 2013. How to make comprehensive specialized care available for adults with Duchenne or Becker. It is not possible to have multiple specialized centers, each for single diagnosis like DMD or BMD. So in order for it to be effective, it is necessary to centralize all neuromuscular disorders into one neuromuscular center. Unfortunately, the care for adults with neuromuscular diseases in the Czech Republic is shattered, and for some diseases the specialized care is completely missing. We do not have a neuromuscular center which would meet the criteria of comprehensive health care for patients with neuromuscular disorders. This is a challenge for our patient organization. We invited other neuromuscular patient organizations to cooperate. Without this cooperation, our mutual coordination in the Czech Republic, it is not possible to bring about changes in our system which would lead to a better care for patients with neuromuscular diseases. That's why we founded the platform for neuromuscular disorders and carers, and we together with our partners coordinate the goals and steps needed for achieving them. In case of DMD or any other neuromuscular disease, it is not acceptable to separate specialized care, health care, and social care. It is not viable to separate patients from carers. Without medical tools which are needed for patients to live, the healthcare will not work, and vice versa. Without the help of personal carers, it is not possible to survive when it comes to neuromuscular disorder. The social needs of patients with a severe disability, such as the need to study and to work or living independently without parents, are the alpha and omega during transition to adulthood. In the Czech Republic, because of the insufficient care subsidy, it is not possible to pay carers for the uninterrupted everyday care. That is why the majority of adults with DMD or BMD live together with their parents and spend life sitting in front of the computer. Special education is often reachable only within a long driving distance, and boarding schools are not able to accommodate a student with a ventilator on a weekly stay. At the moment, adults with Duchenne or Becker are monitored in the sleep laboratory in Prague, where is also situated the physician's office. Unfortunately, this hospital facility is not barrier-free, and thus many patients are unable to undergo essential procedures like electrocardiography, echocardiography, or polysomnography. That's why we suggested to the medical doctors in this hospital to provide polysomnography, electrocardiography, or changing the percutaneous endoscopic astronomy directly in the homes of those individuals. Sometimes, because of the inability to perform respiratory function tests, the patient dies because he does not receive the ventilation support or medication. We urgently need the neuromuscular center not only to provide the comprehensive care and relief services, but also to enable the conduct of clinical trials. It is in the area of clinical trials that the Czech Republic lacks significantly within the European Union. The current system of obtaining medical tools and subsidies is unsatisfactory for the families of adult patients. It is time-consuming and physically demanding. These approval processes involve unnecessary bureaucracy and various medical examinations before the medical tool is finally approved by the review physician. For example, to obtain an electric wheelchair, you must first obtain the recommendation of at least 7 specialists, which takes about 3 months. The application is then assessed by the review physician. Then it takes a long time for the wheelchair to be made. In the end, it can take nearly a year in the Czech Republic to be delivered the electric wheelchair, which is unacceptable. Neuromuscular disorders are typically progressive, so it often happens that before the family manages to obtain the necessary medical tool, the patient is no longer able to use it due to a worsened health condition, for example, a loss of ability to control an electric wheelchair, a collapsed spine, etc. At the same time, the individual neuromuscular disorders are sufficiently well described in the official literature, including their progression, and there are tailor-made solutions available to patients. An example of such solution is the utilization of registries. In those registries, even review physicians would have access and could almost immediately approve the medical tool as required previously by the specialized physician. Now we present, from our point of view, how should the future possible neuromuscular center operate to meet the patient needs. In the center, there is a need for collaboration between the multidisciplinary team of physicians and the social workers to provide the best quality of life for patients from the perspective of health and social care. When a family visits the center, they are expected to be cared for according to the latest standards, and that these standards are regularly updated. In the center, the family would find a social worker who would help them to obtain the right medical tools and who would help to draw up an appropriate individual social support. During the visit, the maintenance or adjustments of family's medical tools will be done, or the patient's medical tools will be done. If one day visit of the center is not enough for you to complete all necessary examinations and procedures or appointments, in the center personal carers will be available and family could use this relief service if needed in order to take some rest for a few days or hours. During a longer stay in the center, patients can meet up with each other and establish important contacts and friendships to exchange mutual experiences about how they cope with the disease, how they have achieved barrier-free living in their homes, what their hobbies are, what medical tools they use, and what plans do they have for the future, which is a motivation for the patients. In the Czech Republic, there is no sufficient relief service currently available for patients dependent on ventilation. There is a big risk involved, and that is discouraging the possible providers. The only relief services currently available are summer camps for children with ventilation support, and this takes place only once a year. That is very insufficient. There is no system of individual assessment of needs in the Czech Republic. Patients who need uninterrupted everyday care pay the biggest price. Unfortunately, the situation is such that it is indeed patients with neuromuscular disorders who, in the Czech Republic, follow through the state social support program and in the end are dependent on the help of foundations and sponsors. The legislation here does not take our patients into account, and we need to change this. Currently, we have the READY registry in the Czech Republic, which we established in cooperation with Masaryk University in Brno in 2011 under the patient organization Parent Project. Gradually, other neuromuscular disorders were also incorporated. In comparison with Belgium, Belgium has more than 60 groups of neuromuscular disorders present in its registry. But our registry is very small. It has only 7 groups of neuromuscular disorders. Registries are extremely essential, not only for patient identification and clinical trials, but also for improving the quality of healthcare and social services planning. Adult patients with DMD in the Czech Republic were inspired in the Great Britain and following the efforts of Pathfinders UK, decided to establish a similar organization with the same goal. This goal consists of the patient advocacy for the independent living and the availability of the comprehensive specialized healthcare. Their plans are huge, but the main one is cooperation with adult patient organizations from all over the world. As a start, these young men set out to shoot a video about their lives. They plan to write a book with their stories and also to regularly publish a magazine. In addition, patient organization provided the boys and young men and girls with the necessary support to get started and wishes them good luck in implementing their projects. We will always stand by them and support them. So thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and we will try to do our best to answer those.